take it away.
Social media has given a voice to the voiceless. If you are a writer, you don't need a book publisher or a newspaper to have your words read. You can use social media. If you are a photographer, you don't need an art gallery or magazine to have your photos displayed. You can use social media. And if you are a videographer, you don't need a cinema or TV studio to have your video seen. You can use social media. Social media has dramatically changed the way we can market ourselves. It's not the end all, it's not the only thing you do. You need to come to events like this as well. There's other traditional forms of marketing, but it has created a whole new industry on how we market ourselves. So before I start, I just want to share something. I speak at a lot of conferences, a real lot. And I met this man, Sante Achille. He's from Italy. With a name like that, yes, you know he's from Italy. One of the nicest guys you will meet. And he has been working on internet marketing for a very long time. I met him in September. He's been working on internet marketing since 1994. He was one of the earliest people to take on internet marketing. And in an interview he did just 2 months ago, he said this. There's no need for me to read this to you, but basically he's saying we're becoming a web of niches. It's a very crowded marketplace out there on the internet. And not one person or one blog or one website is going to dominate all, but you dominate each niche. And then he said that images or video, these are Imran and this is our forte here, these are the workhorse, these are important across everything. So to give you a bit of a story, what I think about having your niche is not just finding your niche. You also need to find your voice in that niche. It is the story that only you can tell. No one else can tell that story. Only you can tell it. But some people go out and say, I need a niche, I need a place on social media, I need to find something that's different. But you know what? You don't have to find it. It finds you. It finds you at times. And so I'm going to explain a little bit at how it found me, a little bit, and then I want to explain the lessons that I've learned that you can implement in your own businesses. So I've travelled to more than 100 countries, and I have learned a lot about the world since my first overseas trip in 1986 from my home country of Australia. And the one thing I found is that wherever I travelled, I was always greeted warmly by people. And it didn't matter what religion they were, the colour of their skin, what culture, what language. The vast majority of people I met meant me no harm. They treated me with kindness. And the vast majority of places I visited had no threat at all. And then I discovered the more I travelled, the more I would go to places that were not on the usual tourist routes. So yes, I know people love going to Western Europe and it is wonderful, and North America, yes, that's very interesting too, but I would go through Asia, I would go through parts of the Middle East and Africa. In fact, I've worked out that since my first trip to one of these places, 1992, I went to Eastern Turkey on the Syrian border, and that was frontier stuff back there. I've spent 8 years total in places that are away from the Western Europe, North America tourist routes. And I found that these were my favourite experiences, whether it be Tajikistan, Yemen, the wonderful Ethiopia, Iran, that was my 100th country, or Zambia in Africa. And the more I travelled, the more I gravitated to these places, the better experiences I had there, the nicer people I met, away from where most people would travel. And the thing is, I knew that but I didn't have an audience to share it with. I've been doing this since 1992, and I didn't have an audience. Yes, I put some stuff on a website, and I got a few views, but it didn't have the audience. And do you know what changed? 2012. My Events International run this. I spoke at their event in 2012. It was a travel event. And then at that event, I listened to other people talk about social media. And I thought, oh, this is different. And so I opened up my Twitter account 2012. And I can say Malaysia changed everything for me. Everything. By coming to this country, and I have come here many, many times now, this changed everything. Because I set up social media, Twitter, and suddenly, the importance of my photos, the importance, the workhorse they are, online, they now had an audience. And the following year, in 2013, to be exact, the 5th of November 2013, I was one of the founders, and I'm still the only founder currently in the chat of the Road Less Travel Twitter chat. Now, what is a Twitter chat? I'm glad you asked. A Twitter chat is where you see, look, this gentleman here, I know he wanted to ask. So what happens is you put a hashtag, TRLT, and you put question 1. And question 1 might be, what is the most spectacular scenery you have seen on a road trip? A1. And you're right. For me, it was the Pamir mountain through the Wakhan Valley in Tajikistan, the photo of the mountains you saw before. And because you use the hashtag, everyone can follow. So this is a very interesting that I'm here now today, so many years after first coming to Malaysia, learning about social media. Tonight, 2 a.m. in the morning, I'll be up for it. It's our 6th year consecutive of Twitter chatting. That is 314 weeks tonight, without a break. That makes us, and it's not just me. There's a team behind me. There's Pip, there's Pip. There's RTW Barefoot. There's Linda. There's Mia. We have people with me that do this as well. It's not just me, of course. And so we are not only one of the world's longest serving, without a break, travel Twitter chats. There's one that's longer, any Twitter chat. There's almost no one who's longer than us. And the reason we started it was I know that I can come to Malaysia and I know it's a fantastic experience. It has the best food in the world. Nasi lemak is one of the great breakfasts. The culture, the beauty of the scenery, the shopping. There is so much about this country I love. Yet, when you go on normal Twitter chats, how often does Malaysia get mentioned? Not much at all. So we thought, let's start a chat where we talk about destinations away from Western Europe. And there were 3 ingredients to make anything on social media. Anything you want to do, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, it's these 3. You need strong content, strong conversation, and strong community. I don't have time to go through all 3. So I'll just look at the last one. This is the hardest one, the strong community. There's a reason TRLT is now actually the only large weekly travel Twitter chat left. Why? Because of algorithm changes. Algorithms changed. And so our numbers dropped, like everyone else's numbers dropped. Some chats abandoned, some went from weekly to monthly, some went from weekly to infrequently, and we stayed. We are still there. Why? Because we built a community. We built a community around the chat. The chats that didn't build the community, they're the ones that fell off. There's another chat, which Jess is another one of our long-time hosts. She started another chat called Culture Trove Chat. That has continued to go because, again, she built a community on that chat. So there's 5 reasons, and whenever you do social media, these are the 5 things you look for on your social media. They are, first of all, you need to be reliable. Now, because we've been going for 6 years tonight and haven't missed a week, we know that people can miss the chat for years. And we've had this. They go away, we don't see them for 2-3 years, and they come back. And they know, regardless Of the time of year, whether it be Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve or Christmas Day, we still chat. At 1 p.m. US Eastern Time, summer or winter, we are always there. So if you want to regularly post and be known for that, keep to your timetable. Second, we're personal. We make sure we welcome everyone into the chat. We take special attention to welcome people into the chat. And we even ask our community for what questions are you interested in having? And they will suggest questions. It makes them feel part. It makes them feel part of the community. We're comfortable. One of the reasons we started the chat was the three founders, which was Savannah, Ariana, and myself. We all had a love of Afghanistan, one of our favourite countries. And we were tired of going on to chats and we post a photo of Afghanistan and someone would ask, is it safe? And we were sick of it. We were sick of it. I said, I'm sick of posting photos from these places. I know they're safe. I wouldn't go there. And do you know, in the 6 years of the chat, we had people even share a photo 2 weeks ago from Afghanistan, Jason. And we've had people share photos from West Africa, Middle East, everywhere. And not one person in 6 years has said, is it safe? Because they know it's safe. They trust people. People are comfortable to share them without being judged, without being saying, oh, you know, do you know what you're doing? We're interesting because we ask questions from the community, and we're inspiring because for 1 hour every week, we give people dreams of faraway places and distant destinations. This is what your community does. It's these three. It turns your people on the internet, on social media, into followers, your followers and supporters, but the big one, it turns your supporters into advocates. And this is my advice for you. You need to find and nurture your advocates. These are the criteria for finding your advocates. And when I say, are their comments extremely positive, it does not mean that all their comments have to be positive. For example, you might have a hotel and there might be an internet outage for an hour and they mention, are you able to fix that because the internet went out? But if the rest of the time everything's positive, that's fine. Don't expect people to say positive things all the time. And the last one, they defend you against negative comments about your business. They say things you wish you could say. And I have seen this with airlines where people complain, the flight didn't take up in time because there was a fog delay. Now, the airline can't really go and, they can challenge it, but it's a bit hard to. But I'll tell you, the fans of that airline will say, don't be silly. It's not their fault. And maybe the airline wishes they could say that, but they can't. But their advocates will. And this is how you support them. Give them standard responses. So if you have a hotel, and let's say nasi lemak, again, and you have a sensational nasi lemak, and you have someone stay with you, and you know they like their nasi lemak, don't just say, thanks for your stay. Thanks for your stay, and hope you enjoyed our magnificent nasi lemak. Personalise it. Mention them. If they like live entertainment and you're introducing something new, something live, some new live music, mention them. Tag them, but you've got to know them well. And the chances are that if someone is an advocate, you have probably met them if you're in a local area like Langkawi. So you're going to know them, they're not going to mind. And then invite them in a circle. Get them out and about. And if you have an event, bring them along. Bring them along. Make them feel special. Because these people do so much work for you and they do it because they want to do it. So nurture your advocates. Support them all the time. And it is better to have fewer followers and a network of good advocates than tens and tens of thousands of followers who never comment, who never share, who never like. There's a content creator called Gary Arndt. And he made mention once, he said, the best way you can determine your success on social media is this. If you go to a place, are there a dozen people who want to sit and have a meal with you? And if the answer is yes, you've got a success. If you're just wander in there and you have 1,000 followers and no one wants to connect with you, then you haven't built up your advocates.